What's up guys, Sportshot here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys everything that you need to know about providing air support in War Thunder. But before we get into it, you guys should subscribe and hit that bell notification button if you did like this video. Anyway, let's just get right into it. So first I'm going to be showing you guys how to not get shot down by any aircraft vehicle. So depending on what BR you're at is going to basically dictate what kind of flight paths you should take around the battlefield in ground realistic. So anywhere from the beginning of the tech tree all the way up to about 8 BR, you're going to be seeing unguided, basically just gun trucks or tanks with anti-aircraft guns on them. So they're not going to be very accurate, especially at a long range or at a really weird vector relative to themselves. So with those, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fly relatively high up so you can scout for targets. And when you do see one shooting at you, they will have tracers, so you will be able to tell that they are shooting at you, and you can just kind of dodge them. Next thing you want to do is just dive straight down on top of whichever vehicle you're attacking, and because you are flying high enough, they generally won't be able to shoot you down. So after you do dive on the target and drop whatever ordnance you have, you just want to stick kind of close to the ground and fly away, not in the direction of the enemy spawn, because most SPAs do just camp their own spawns, because why would you leave your spawn if you don't have to, you know? So just go pretty high, dive down, and leave opposite generally of the enemy spawn. Now it does get tricky when you are facing any aircraft of a BR 8 or higher, because they're going to have radar guided guns or they're going to have missiles. So you're going to want to fly relatively close to the ground, and instead of relying on your own eyes to spot enemies, you're going to want to rely on markers that your teammates use to spot or pinpoint enemies. Or you're going to want to look at the map to see, are there any objectives being taken right now? Or do you see any blasts from guns where you are? Especially if you see an enemy get shot at a relatively close range, you are going to be able to use that to pinpoint the general area of an enemy, and you're going to want to fly really low to the ground, or as low as you can safely. This basically is so that any land formations or like trees, houses, cliffs, hills will make it so that the missiles can't lock onto you and the radar guns won't be able to actually shoot you, because if you are high up they will be able to reach you, because radar guns are guided for lead, vector, all that. It gives them really good accuracy, especially at long ranges relative to you. And you do have the missiles that are a threat at high altitudes, because they will be able to just lock onto you and launch. Now, the main problem with a lot of missiles in War Thunder is that they're manually guided. Now, missiles like the RB-05 or the bullpups are manually guided, and you are going to need to change up your controls a little bit if you haven't already, and you're going to need to learn how to practice using these missiles, but it is relatively easy to set up a practice. Now, there are two ways of doing this. What I do a lot of the time is I just hop right into a test flight, but a more efficient way of doing this so you can get a higher density of targets is you can go into battles, custom battles, create session, and then all you have to do now is find a conquest map. So just type in conquest, and you can find any one of these maps, and typically a flat map like Eastern Europe or European province is the best. What you are going to want to do next is click start. Make sure your country selection is any country, or it at least has a country selected that you're using, which it should by default. And then select your difficulty depending on whichever game mode you generally play, and make absolutely sure that limited fuel and limited ammo are on no, so you will get a reload. Next, what you want to do is you want to have your password just be some random string of stuff, so that nobody can already join your game and just shoot you down and mess with you. So you get this game basically all to yourself. And also make sure that your number of players is at 32, so you can get bots on both teams. Now, the reason why I put it at 32 so you can get bots on both teams is that sometimes if you do have it on 64, you're going to want to try this out for yourself. You might not get bots on both teams until like maybe 5 or 10 minutes into the match. This is just a personal experience that I've had, but a lot of bots don't load into the game right away, and they take some time because there's so many. But I'm going to be trying out 64 now, and if it doesn't work, I'm just going to be going into a 32 player game. So now that you're in the game, you will be able to test your weapons. So I'm going to be going up to a relatively close altitude. Now I might miss some shots here because I don't use manually guided missiles much myself, and when I do I usually just go in for a direct attack. But what you're going to want to start doing if you are practicing for aim is you're going to want to start practicing relatively close, so you do start to get a feel for the controls, and then you go further and further away the better you start getting. Also, another tip is, I just messed this up here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start tapping on the keys that you use and not hold them down, because holding them down will sometimes give you way too much stuff like that. It'll give you way too much kind of maneuverability in the rocket, and you will miss your shots. But that's basically how to practice, and disclaimer right here, you're going to be horrible when you first start. You're just going to have to keep practicing and playing around with the sensitivity of it just to see how well it works. Now, to actually set up your controls, you're going to want to go to Controls, Aircraft, Weaponry, and then you're going to want to go to Yaw Axis and Pitch Axis for aimed weapons. And Yaw Axis is side to side, Pitch Axis is up and down. And what you do is you double click on these, and you can set the increase value, which is up for yaw, and decrease, which is, or no, for yaw, this is right and left, increase is left, decrease, no, increase is right. And so now that you are in the game, you are going to want to set up your controls. And how to do that for manually guided missiles is you're going to want to go into the Controls tab, make sure you're in Aircraft, go to Weaponry, and then you can scroll down to Yaw and Pitch Axis for aimed weapons, or weapons aiming. I think, yeah, they should probably make those the same spelling. Anyway, what you have to do is you have to double click on where the controls are, and you can see the increased value goes right for yaw, and for yaw it also goes left when you decrease the value. And just make sure that you use, well, what I use typically is the arrow keys, but you can also use your numpad. You can type in whatever keys you want, and to do that you just double click on it, press a button, and it'll get selected. Now make sure that you have controls set up for these and that you're comfortable with them. And what you do now is you just start practicing. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find some tanks. Now I did set it to realistic battle, so I will have some trouble finding the tanks, but that's fine because they will be firing tracers that light them up. I can see one right here because it just fired. And what I want to do basically is I'm going to look for a target, and I can see one right about here, and you just fire on it, and you can use the arrow keys. I was pressing the wrong key there, but you can use the arrow keys or whichever key that you assign to do it to guide in your missile. Now remember, down is down, up is up, left is left, etc. And basically you want to start at a relatively close range and just start tapping on the controls a little bit. Now I am horrible at this because I do not use these weapons that much, and when I do, I usually get really close. I usually stick to the ground and get really close so I can just shoot it straight at the enemy. But you're going to, if you do want to get good at shooting them at a really long range, this is how you practice. Now I'm going to go into two ground RB games, one at mid tier and one at high tier, to show you guys how to provide air support at those tiers. Alright, so I'm going to be starting here in the P-47. Now I'm going to be carrying these HVARs, which are high explosive rockets, and 3 bombs. What I want to do now, because of the bombs, is I want to set my assault, I don't want to have an assault fuse. I want to set my bomb activation time from anywhere to 1.5 to 3 seconds. What this is basically right when your bomb hits the ground, this is the amount of time it takes for it to explode. So the reason why you don't want it on assault fuse or anything below 1.5 seconds is it won't give you time to fly far enough away from the bomb, and the bomb blast will knock you out of the air in most circumstances. So I like to keep it personally at around 2 seconds. Also, make sure that you have generally the minimum load or a decent amount of fuel, but not too much, because it will make it so that you aren't as maneuverable. Now this is just general flight knowledge, and I'm just going to go for it. Also, another thing that you might want to do is once you are flying, you're going to want to go into your team chat and just say something like, please mark targets. And that will make it so that your teammates will mark and pinpoint targets for you. There we go. As soon as I said that, we got one marker. and these red and yellow blinking chevrons, or you'll see another symbol with a circle with an exclamation point in it. These basically just show you exactly where enemies are. And now this is perfect for me because I have my allies showing me where the enemies are through this HUD element, and it is really foggy, so enemies won't really be able to see me in the sky as much. So now I can dive in on them, and I can see that there's an enemy right there. I can't tell if it's dead yet. It doesn't look dead, so I can shoot it with my machine guns and it is not dead, so I can just shoot my ordnance at it like that. Now, a mistake that I just made is I'm flying over the enemy spawn, which is generally something that you do not want to do, because you will be shot down in most circumstances when you do that, because a lot of SPAs do camp in the spawn, and there are some there that started shooting at me a little bit, but they couldn't really get any accurate shots on me. Now we can see one right now here. It looks like a flak panzer of some sort. I can't really tell, but we have another marked target right here, and I'm just going to ignore that guy because he can't really aim. So let's see what this target is. Panther. Okay, so we're just going to drop our bombs, and that should be a kill. There we go, and we just saved our challenger. Now we do have an enemy on our tail, and let's just shoot that down. Nope, won't work. But we do have another bomb, so we're going to go in for this. And this guy does have pretty bad accuracy, so I can just keep dodging his shots. We can see, okay, so that guy got killed. I'm just going to go for this AA, because why not? He has really bad accuracy. Drop that bomb and get out. Should be a kill. Boom, another kill right there. Alright, so we are now in a top tier game with the MiG-21, and I do have these manually, or actually no, they're automatically guided missiles. Well, semi-automatically, I guess. They're manually guided with your mouse, but that makes it much easier than manual guidance with your keyboard, which is what a lot of these missiles have. So I'm just going to call it semi-automatic guidance, because it kind of just automatically goes wherever your mouse is. So I'm going to be flying kind of high here because I already know that the enemies don't have a very good SPA loadout, and I do see that they have a helicopter in here, but it's dead now. So I can look and see, okay, there's a target right here. I can just shoot at it, and okay, that was going to be almost a bad shot, but I hit it right under its ammo rack, which was perfect. So now we can just fly away, and I still don't see any AA, so I'm fine to keep going like this. But as a general rule of thumb, you should only go up to a relatively high altitude if you do have these guided missiles, because that means that you will be able to actually deliver the ordnance from pretty far away. So I'm going to dive down and do a low pass with this missile on the target that was just marked over there, although I think it might be dead by now. And I can't really see it. Okay, I see a new target, I think right here. Yep. So I'm just going to go for it. There we go. Got a kill on a... I think that's a Bradley? No. It was some Swedish IFV, but no. We got both of our missiles off, each getting a kill, and we have no damage because we basically... well, first off, I knew that there weren't any SPAs, and I also did a pretty low pass the second time, and because Fulda right here is on a hill, half of the map won't be able to see you as long as you are relatively close to the ground. So now I can go back to the airbase and get more missiles. Alright, so I just finished reloading at the airfield, and I did see while I was reloading on the airfield that they have a ADATS anti-air system now. So they have, I think that's the one with missiles and a radar guided gun, so I have to be careful of that. And now I'm going to see if I can find it and fight it. I'm not sure if I will be able to. Now this is something you generally don't want to do, but I'm going to go up pretty high to try to bait it into shooting a missile at me so I can get its relative location, and there we go, I just found it. That was the ADATS missile, so it is right in this general area. Okay, it shot another one at me. There we go, I dodged that, and where is it? Okay, so I saw it, but I couldn't kill it. That's just an extra part of the video that I wanted to do. See if I could hunt that down specifically, but there we go. If I could have dodged that last missile, which I should have done by holding down W and D, by pitching and yawing up and to the right, I would have been able to do that, but I didn't, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's going to be about it for the video. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, remember to comment them down below, and yeah, that's going to be about it.